Hiya, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to share with you a very chatty testing new makeup, get ready, and just some general life updates and things I have in mind regarding future content. So without further hesitation, let's get right into this video. Brand new MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation. My beloved MAC Studio Fix Powder Foundation has been reformulated, and I've seen a few reviews. It makes me feel a little apprehensive because a lot of people are not liking it. Previously, the shade I wore was NC15. Online, the shade match it said for NC15 in the new formula was NC10. So when I was in store, I got matched, and the MAC artist, she tried NC10. It was too light, too bright, too yellow. She matched me to NC15. NC15 or Neutral Cool 15, just like in all the other formulas by MAC, it is a neutral cool, which means in MAC language or House Labs language, cool means golden or more olive. So this does have a little bit more warmth to it. My skin is pretty pinky or cool toned. I do like to add a little bit of warmth in my powder foundation because it cuts through some of the redness I have in my skin. Since I'm using powder foundation, I'm gonna take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus as my primer. Since I'm wearing a powder foundation and I have things I like to conceal and color correct, I like to do this under my powder foundation. So I've got my Huda Beauty Faux Filter color correctors. I'm going to start with the shade Peach, which is the dark, more warm orange tone. I have a little bit of mascara on. In the morning, just recently, now that I've been going out for more walks and things like that, I don't wear a full face of makeup when I'm going out for a walk just because I don't need to. I throw on a big pair of sunglasses or my eyeglasses and a hat. I have been really enjoying using the Judy Doll mascara. After I apply my sunscreen in the morning, I give my lashes a little curl, a slick of the Judy Doll. It's on all day, and if I go to apply a mascara later in the day, it does a great job at holding the curl and acting as a base. Now I'm going to use the shade Pink Pomelo from Huda Beauty. I always like to mix my color corrector and my concealer together. That way it gives me fewer layers on my face. To blend this out, I'm going to use the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush Brush. Recently, I have been considering expanding the type of content to more things that go on within my everyday life. I am not a vlogger. There is nothing that interesting about me. Hi, let's spend 4 of the 7 days around my house. Some people do that. That's just not me. And also, my husband works from home. He didn't sign up to be on social media, so I like to respect his privacy. And if I have ever shared him on Instagram or something like that, I normally cover his face. He is a lot more private than I am, and I want to respect his privacy and his boundaries. I've been doing a lot with fitness. I've been doing a lot with my diet. I've been doing a lot with my internal wellness, which in turn affects my beauty routines. I've also been experimenting with the way I dress. So as of today, I have lost 28 pounds since the end of November. I have gone down about 2 sizes. When I started my health journey back in November, I was wearing a size 3 at Torrid, which is a US size 22-24. And that was like on the tighter side. I do have broad shoulders, and my HRT will never affect the size of my shoulders. So I do have a broader shoulder span and rib cage. So sometimes, especially for like a tighter top, I would sometimes buy a 4 and then just put a safety pin or 2 on the inside and kind of cinch it in a little bit so that way it fit everywhere else. Now I'm in a size 2, which is a US 18-20. It's getting on the loose size. I've got a few size 1s. It's comfortable but a little on the tight side, and I prefer my clothing just to be slightly more loose than tight, especially going into the warmer months. I like a little bit more airflow so I don't overheat. I'm gonna let my concealer just set down for a minute. I'm gonna move on to doing my eyes. Since I am working with the new formula, I want my liquid and cream base to be fully dried down so that we don't have to worry about powders sticking or dragging. So let's let this set and we'll do the eyes. MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Getting back to changing the content type, beauty related content will always be here because that is one of the biggest loves and joys in my life. That's what brought so many of us together. We are all here because we love making makeup. We love sharing our stories. We love communicating and connecting over products that we love together. So that will always be here. I really would love to share more things about clothing, wellness, and if that's something that you all are interested in, I don't know if it would be a second video on the channel a week. I want to keep my standard upload one makeup video a week, and I like to keep it on Saturdays. That just works out the best with my schedule, so I don't feel too overwhelmed throughout the week. I don't know if I would do this type of content as a full second video, or maybe it would be a short form content. The point that I'm trying to figure out now is, would I want to put that on this channel, or would it be more beneficial to start off a secondary channel? That's something I'm trying to figure out, because I don't want to add in new content and upset any current subscribers just because you were here for the makeup and beauty related content, and then some of you were just here for me, which is unfathomable in my mind, because I don't feel like I'm that interesting of a person. I feel like I'm a very easygoing, laid back, non-dramatic person. So genuinely I'm surprised that there are some people who are purely here to watch my content because they enjoy me. I'm going to take a little bit of this MAC powder foundation just to set over the eye base. So far it looks nice. I want to add different types of content, but I don't want to put anyone off. If it would be more beneficial to add that to a secondary channel, I would happily do that, or just keep it short form. This is a lot of chitter chatter in my mind, but that's been what's going through my mind this week. I would like to share more. I'm going to be revisiting this Kaja Beauty Bento 08 Chocolate Dahlia. I'm going to start with the middle shade, which is like a matte contouring shade. Shared in the last few videos, going on evening walks has been something that has become a big part of mine and my husband's daily routines. And recently I shared with him something I've been stewing on. Sure, it's quite silly. Well, I mean, I don't think it's silly. I think it's incredible, but there is almost like a pageant or a contest, something I read about and I want to apply next year. My husband, he was really sweet, really supportive, and the few friends, the general excitement they've had when I shared it with them is so just genuinely excited. With that being said, my husband and I have been, talking more about it in our evening walks. And with this type of thing, there is generally some part of like an interview process that addresses current affairs with a particular group. Currently in the world, the topic of trans people is a very polarizing topic, and even within the community, so many of us have different views, and I don't have very controversial take. My big thing is I want everyone to be treated equally. I want everyone to have the same rights as another person, but I also want to ensure the safety and wellness of everyone is treated. So it's not just for certain people in one gender or another gender or any type of binary. I feel like everyone should have the same type of safety everywhere they go. My husband has a lot more of a practical, realistic take on I guess that would be the correct way to phrase it. And he's like, okay, that's great, but how do you enforce this? I'm a little bit naive in that sense, I feel like. And it's like, well, the same way you enforce anything else. But then he's great at pointing out that whenever you want to add in a broad term like that, there needs to be people to fill those jobs. There needs to be funding for these different things. And it's like, oh, well, that feels like an opportunity. And that kind of got my wheels turning. I just used the top shade in the Beauty Bento stack. The last few days when I'm doing my journaling, that's been something I've been reflecting on. I'm just going to switch to a small shading brush with the darkest shade on the bottom of the Chocolate Dahlia. Those sentiments about we should all be treated equally. There shouldn't be any type of special curve, or I don't know if that's the correct terminology or not. People should all have the same type of opportunity, because in my mind, a lot of turbulence we can experience comes from a clash, different ideas and opinions, and I think it's a really beautiful and very special thing that there's so many different thoughts, opinions, and cultures and beliefs throughout the world. I think it's wonderful that not everyone has to view things the same way. It's tricky because things being polarizing is nothing new. I mean, that's how we have all the history that we do around the world. There's different wars, social actions and whatnot. I feel like I'm using the word whatnot a lot, but that feels like the best thing. It's just, I don't know. It's very interesting when thinking about pageantry and how to talk about social issues or share your opinions. That's been something I've never had to articulate in my 35 years on this earth because I avoid those topics. I don't, like I've said before, I don't feel like I have any very strong, very polarizing opinions. I feel like I'm pretty straight cut down the middle. Do what makes you happy as long as it doesn't hurt or endanger someone else. Like, just live and let live. As I've started to read more things, it's easier said than done. It two-faced better than sex. Liquid eyeliner, I can very comfortably and firmly say I would never be a commentary channel just because that is not me. That's not something I really like to watch. That's also not something that, you know, I have any feelings on other people watching. Like, we all watch and do what we want to. I prefer to keep my commentary about makeup and beauty, and social media has been something that has really evolved my mindset on what it is, what it could be, where I set in the social media stratosphere, I guess you could say, is a lot different than what I thought it would be, what it could be. This is something I wanted to do for years, but the possibility of what if, the fear of potential backlash or mean words or something like that put me off from it for such a long time. And after finally doing it, I experienced that, you know, yeah, there are people out there that are going to say rude things, but we can block people. We can hide certain words. There's ways to do things to where you don't have to have those people in your bubble. You can create a space for like-minded people to share their love and thoughts and opinions on similar things, and you can remove the hateful discord from it as well. I'm going to use my typical MAC 150S brush. I'm going to tap into the palm of my hand to distribute the product. I'm going to start by stippling on. What happens if I don't? Okay, I wanted to see what happens if I didn't tap it into the palm of my hand, not put on too much product, and then I had a yellow patch. So far, I don't see, it doesn't feel like it's emphasizing any texture. I can see the powder sitting on the skin. Typical though, usually, of when you're using a powder foundation at first. You might notice it sitting on top of the skin. Give it a few moments. It will melt down and mesh with the natural oils of your skin. I'm gonna tie down in my neck like I normally do. That might help adjust this color a little bit, just so it doesn't feel as dark. My neck has more of those warm yellow golden tones from some sun damage I've had throughout the years, so I normally like to match that so that way I don't have a disconnect. Take it right over the ear. Again, I'm working on any of the product I have on my hand. And now let's add some to the forehead. As this is going on, as I've tied it into the neck, the shade feels a lot better than it did initially. I do plan to do a full dedicated review to this new powder foundation because I do have 3 shades of the previous formula, and many of you know that MAC Studio Fix powder is one of my longest running favorite foundations. It's been pretty much my easy grab and go foundation for over 10 years. I'm just going through and buffing. Build it up just a pinch right through here just to see if I can build up. I feel like I have a pretty solid medium coverage MAC 217. A little bit of the powder foundation on this, and I'm gonna go through and blend out the edge of my eyeshadow. Looking at my little magnifying mirror, this is looking a little bit more of a flat matte on the skin. When my box lights on the side hit it, it does give a little bit of a light reflect. Looking at the fronts of my cheeks and things like that, where I didn't use any type of primer other than my sunscreen or the MAC Fix Plus, you can see it sitting there, but I'm not going to hold that against it because that could melt into the skin within a couple, like 15, 20, 30 minutes of wearing the foundations. Laura Geller Baked Bronze and Brighten in the shade Fair. This is a little bit more of a rose rosy pink shade bronzer. So it's going to play into those naturally cooler tones that I blush when I get some sun. So I'm going to apply that to the high points of my face. I am going to use the RMS Redimension Hydro Dew Luminizer and Prosecco Fizz RMS Cheek to Cheek Blush and Powder Brush. Okay, interesting. So this is the first product I'm applying over top of the powder foundation because I feel like when I apply this highlighter over top of the powder foundation, I can see it sitting on top of the skin a lot more apparently than it normally does. Part of what I love about this RMS highlighter is how it gives a glow to the skin, but it doesn't emphasize texture. Over top of this new MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus foundation, it definitely is emphasizing the drier texture underneath. It's not bad. Like from here, I just look like I have a beautiful glow to the cheek, but up close, it's a little iffy. Right before the sale ended, I placed one little order online and I got 2 more items. And one of those 2 items is Say Super Suede Radiant Blush Powder in the shade Bella. When I saw people reviewing it and swatching it, a lot of people were complaining it didn't have pigment. It didn't show up on their skin. But I've had a very different experience with it. Maybe it's because my skin is more on the fair side, but it shows up. Comparing Bella that I have versus the Bella in store, the Bella I swatched in store was almost bleached by the display lights, and it didn't really show up even as a swatch on the back of my hand, which the back of my hand is lighter than the face or the neck. This was a product, it was definitely a gamble whether it was going to do anything or not, but it does, and I quite like it. Layers well over this one, the Say Dew Blush in the shade Baby. I'm going to take a little bit of Baby on the back of my hand and go back to the Rare Beauty blush. That did something. We definitely have more color to the cheeks now, that's for sure. But I think that just added a little bit of life to this foundation. I do feel like my face is getting darker. I feel like it's oxidizing, not just where I'm applying my blusher, but also like further down. I feel like the whole face, even like the top lip where I did not apply bronzer, is getting darker. So this might be something I end up having to use like a matte highlighter to brighten up a little bit. I have the brand new Narciso Rodriguez Narciso Radiant Fragrance. Let's spray a little bit on now so we can see how it develops as I finish off my makeup. When I ordered the Say blush, I also ordered another shade of the Tower 28 lip pencils. This one is in the shade Call Me. So the Tower 28 one-liner lip liner in the shade Fill Me In, which is a neutral pink. I'm gonna use this just to color in my entire lip. As I'm applying my lip liner, I notice right here under my chin, right here in the corner of my mouth, things are looking a little dry, and I don't like the word crusty, but it looks a little dry and crusty. It just doesn't look as nice as the previous formula did. That might be something I can combat with like a more hydrating or luminous concealer underneath. Recently, I've been really enjoying applying a lip liner that is close to the color of my lips underneath my lipstick as a base. I am going to use a new lipstick and lip liner duo. This is something I mentioned in the products I was curious to purchase at Sephora. I did not purchase these at Sephora. I purchased this Charlotte Tilbury lipstick and lip pencil at a local department store we have called Holt Renfrew. One of my girlfriends and I, we were there, we had a little lunch date. We were walking through and there was a sales associate there who was so incredibly helpful. And she shared with us so many of her favorite fragrances, her favorite makeup products, and she just did so much. And being someone who's worked in retail, I just really admired how much effort and just how much she was making an effort to connect with us. I just felt compelled to leave with something, and I wasn't gonna buy a new fragrance because the ones at Holt Renfrew are more of like your luxury niche fragrances. As much as I love the new Parfum de Marly Valaya exclusive, I was not about to spend $400 or $500 on a perfume. So I was like, I've been really curious about this Charlotte Tilbury lipstick and lip liner. Could you help me? So she did, and the lipstick I purchased, Tilbury, it's called Candy Sheet Kissing formula, which is a little bit more creamy. Candy Chic is really interesting because it is pretty much a straight down the middle, neutral mid-tone pink. And when I pair it over top of the Tower 28 lip pencil and fill me in, it feels a little bit more cool toned. I am going to use the other product I purchased from Holtgren for that day. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat Reshape and Resize Lip Liner, and the shade is Super Size Me. This brush has a little bit of my MAC Paint Pot, which is a little bit drier than concealer, but it's close enough to my skin tone where I should be able to smooth down that lip liner moment. Then I should be able to revisit my powder foundation with my little 217 brush. There we go. Then I'm gonna rub my lips together to transfer a little bit to the top. Perfect. This definitely looks different on my face compared to the previous formula, so I'm gonna use a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. By a little bit, I mean a lot. And I'm gonna use a little bit of my Benefit Precisely, my tinted brow wax. Aim where I want my forehead to be and then pop it on, and then I can readjust. There we go. Wow, just gives all the volume. I don't mind some volume, because especially, I don't know what it is with this color sweater, I feel like a little bit of volume is definitely giving that kind of Southern Belle vibe, which I don't mind at all. And last but not least, before we head out for the day, let's do a quick check-in on the Narciso Radiant. If you are someone who owns Narciso Rodriguez for her Pure Mousse, or if you own the original Eau de Toilette, or even Narciso Crystal in the pink cube, you might not need this. It is similar to those, yet different. It is definitely more of a soft, white, floral, aldehydic, powdery musk. In a way, it reminds me of something like Parfum de Marly Valaya, the regular, not the exclusive, coupled with something like the Body Shop White Musk, Donna Karan Cashmere Mist, even Bath & Body Works Moonlit Path, but less of that white jasmine floral. It's very pretty. If you are someone who likes those soft white musk powdery florals, you might really, really enjoy this. I wore this yesterday. It wore pretty well. It made it about 6 hours, and I could smell it up to that 6 hour mark, but when the 6 hour mark hit, it was gone. It is not going to be one that you wear on a steamy date night out. If you want something really nice to wear to like church, brunch, to the office, this is a really beautiful, inoffensive, fresh, clean scent. It's almost in that same kind of realm of fragrances like the Philosophy Amazing Grace or Pure Grace. So if you like those more soapy, fresh, aldehydic scents, you might really enjoy Narciso Radiant. I will let you go. Let me know what you think about adding the new content. Is that something we should keep here or create it on a new channel? Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. Until we see each other again, I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever it is you are in the world, and I will see you later. Bye, y'all.